I presume you're here in order to learn of Magecraft. I'll have you know, there's no room for the weak-willed in this course, and despite your best efforts, the sorcery of our time is but a fraction of what it once was in the Age of Gods. Much of the craft is established through pedigree, and the culture of mages is riddled with deception and moral depravity. That said, if you insist, I shall do my best to educate you in this miserable, yet fascinating world.
In our previous lesson, I covered the various entities that mages may refer to as aliens, such as Velber, the Greek machine gods, the foreign god, and the outer gods told of in the writings of H.P. Lovecraft. It's a far-out concept, and while it is important to cover, I would like to bring us back to Earth with some fundamentals. Specifically, I wish to cover one of the most widely used thaumaturgical systems out there, Kabbalah. In essence, Magecraft is the process of using mana to create physical changes in the outside world. That said, there are many ways to do this, with some being far more efficient than others. It all relies on the concept of mystery, or the concealment of truth. While we've explored the tremendous importance of Magecraft's future relationship through science and technology, the hard truth is that the Magecraft we're more used to is dying as empirical discoveries are made. Gods, for instance, are supernatural beings born from our human worship. As science continues to explain our world, the need and value of believing in the supernatural fades. Thus, the gods cannot remain in our world and have retreated to the reverse side. In other words, our beliefs and superstitions are key to performing spells. That inherent mystery creates the foundation upon which we construct our craft. This means that the very concept of studying and teaching Magecraft is a bit ironic. To reveal a mage's secrets is to deprive them of their power. Instructors must find a balance between teaching these concepts and maintaining their mysterious properties. Something that helps this process is a thaumaturgical system, an established school of Magecraft based on popular mythology or superstition. Astrology, alchemy, Inshinsendo, for instance, are different ways of looking at the world that don't rely on objective truth. Even as something like astrology is disproven by science, it has an established history that can be studied and worshipped. Thus, basing one's Magecraft on the positioning of stars in the night sky can still be effective even in the modern era. While various mysteries are being cleared away, these established mythologies and mystical concepts better stand the test of time. Religion and spirituality remain fertile as thaumaturgical systems, and one of Magecraft's most robust is the Hebrew mysticism of Kabbalah. In Hebrew, Kabbalah translates to receiving and is based around the idea of better understanding the true nature of God. More accurately, Jewish mystics aim to comprehend Ein Sof, the infinite and endless state of the universe prior to God's materialization. It is God's form before becoming what we conventionally understand him to be. In order to understand the Ein Sof, mystics study and worship the Ten Sephirot, the creative forces God uses to create and preside over the universe. Kabbalah presumes a symbiotic nature between the Creator and his creations, meaning that God's children seek intimacy with him. They do so through three distinct dimensions. First, Kabbalists investigate and interpret sacred texts such as the Zohar and the Bible, while spreading that knowledge orally. They heed what they presume to be direct revelations from angels or prophets. Through a life of discipline and worship, Kabbalists hope to understand God not just logically, but also physically and emotionally. On a practical level, these worshippers seek to exercise power over the world, tapping into the powers of angels, demons, and other supernatural energies. In this way, they hope to further God's will of serving justice and punishing evil. This is where Magecraft enters the picture. If we interpret these ancient texts and mystical powers as fragments of the root, we can base our spells and rituals off Kabbalism as a foundation. Put another way, we mages are standing on the back of a profound religious mysticism for our own gain, and it has served us so well that even the Orders of the Clock Tower rely on it. Thus, to understand how mages utilize Kabbalah, it is important for us to understand the fundamentals of Kabbalah. Again, Kabbalists seek an intimacy with Ein Sof by understanding the 10 emanations, or powers that God uses to rule both the physical world and other metaphysical realms. These are the 10 Sephirot, or Sephiroth, which are diagrammed on the Tree of Life. This diagram is filled with abundant meaning, with the exact arrangement of elements notating all sorts of relationships. I will lean toward brevity, as this is meant to be introductory. Notice there are 3 pillars. The Sephira on the right are the masculine side, associated with harmony and benevolence. Those on the left are the feminine side, associated with power and justice. They are balanced by the central column, which mediates between mercy and justice. In addition, each Sephira is paired with an archangel. Standing at the top, we have Keter, the crown, linked to the archangel Metatron. It represents God's living energy throughout the universe, and understanding this Sephirot leads to spiritual enlightenment. Working our way down, on the right we have Chokmah, or wisdom, linked to the archangel Raziel. It represents the wisdom granted to humans, and how they can use it in practical situations to reach their full potential. Below that is Chesed, or mercy, linked with the archangel Zadkiel. It represents the entire right column as God's compassion, encouraging people to be kind to one another. Even lower is Netzach, or victory, linked with the archangel Haniel. It represents God being absolute and eternal, a reliable figure for people to worship. In the upper left is Bina, or intelligence, linked with the archangel Zaphkiel. It represents how God provides his children insight and guidance in their daily lives. Below that is Gevurah, or strength, linked with the archangel Hamuel. It represents the needed strength to set boundaries so that one may better focus on God. Even lower is Hod, or honor, linked by both archangels Michael and Raphael. It represents the need to express God's glory in the face of corruption and sin. Stepping down from Keter at the top, we have Tiphareth, or beauty, also linked to Michael and Raphael. It represents harmony and compassion. Below that is Yesod, or foundation, linked to the archangel Gabriel. It represents the base of the tree, where mortal men can connect with their divine creator. At the very bottom is Malkuth, or kingdom, linked to the archangel Sandalphon. It represents the manifestation of God's will, the result of Keter traveling through the other Sephira to his children below. In other words, we are God's kingdom. Another variation of the Tree of Life has an 11th Sephira known as Dath, or knowledge, but most commonly, there are the main 10. Equally important to mages is the Kabbalistic term Shem Hamfarash, the name of God expressed within 72 syllables taken from the Hebrew Bible. The Book of Exodus contains 3 passages that, when read in Hebrew, contain 72 Hebrew letters. By writing these letters out in 3 distinct rows, one can form a total of 72 names from the columns, each composed of 3 letters. Each 3-letter name is an abbreviation for one of the 72 angels of Jacob's ladder, and each of those can be read in 3 syllables. As you may have guessed, this number, 72, is also aligned with the demon gods conjured by King Solomon. In a generic sense, Kabbalah often finds meaning in specific arrangements of letters. Notarikon, then, is a term for the ability to abbreviate words into fewer letters and to derive a complex name from those letters. Beyond the 72 angels of Kabbalah, Notarikon is also responsible for the term Amen, which is an acronym for the phrase Adonai, El Melech Neman, which roughly translates to, Lord, O faithful King. Kabbalah also finds meaning in the arrangement of numbers, a process of number play called gematria. For example, the 72 angels can be split into groups of 6 to represent the 12 zodiac signs. The number 7 is considered a perfect number. It takes this meaning from how God created the universe in 7 days. There are also 7 weeks between Passover and Shavat, during which people strive to perfect the 7 emotions of love, fear, compassion, ambition, humility, bonding, and receptiveness. 8, however, is considered a step up from the natural order, representing transcendence and divinity. Hanukkah is 8 days long, resulting from a miracle beyond nature. The 8 oil lights lit during that time align with 8 of the Sephirot. Naturally, the number 72 is a multiple of 8. All of this knowledge translates quite well into Magecraft. For instance, a mage can base their spells off of any of these important numbers or phrases. Mages can mask their secrets behind hidden codes like the Ten Sephirot, or even invoke the qualities and characteristics of angels. While Kabbalah has been a foundation for Magecraft since its inception, many attribute the coining of the term to the mage Solomon ibn Gabirol, or Avisebron. He was an 11th century poet and philosopher born in Spain. While his written works brought Jewish lore to Europe, his thaumaturgical exploits focused on golemancy. Golems happen to derive from various cultural spheres, but when it comes to Kabbalah, the term is synonymous with Adam from the Garden of Eden. This story varies depending on its publication, but in the Talmud, Adam is described as a golem, with his dust kneaded into a shapeless husk. Using the Book of Yetzirah, Avisebron hoped to bring salvation to his war-torn era by creating the ultimate golem, Keter Malkuth, a recreation of Adam. In life, Avisebron was unable to make this dream a reality, but as a heroic spirit, he had the opportunity to finish the job. The completed Adam is his noble phantasm, Royal Crown, the Light of Wisdom, which is an autonomous reality marble that repaints the world into the Garden of Eden with its every step. When grounded, this golem receives the blessings of the earth and cannot be destroyed unless it is toppled in some form. Even without the golem Keter Malkuth, Avisebron is adept in mass-producing all sorts of golems. Through Notarikon, the play on words we discussed earlier, he is able to compress his commands and issue them to multiple golems at a time. This process of condensing syllables to increase spellcasting efficiency is known as numerology. It is used by mages such as Aoko Aozaki, whose Starmine and Starbow thaumaturgy relies on quickly converting spells from images in her mind. Michael Roa Valdemjong also relies on numerology when conjuring various lightning-based attacks. As creating golems involves breathing life into otherwise inanimate materials, it makes sense that a man seeking immortality might find Kabbalistic techniques very useful. Jewel Magecraft also derives power from Kabbalah. Both rubies and sapphires are associated with the cosmos, which in turn line up with the Sephirot Gevurah and Chesed respectively. Also, the mage Garion Ashbourne modeled his entire workshop, the Adra Castle, or Castle of Separation, with Kabbalah as its foundation. Not only were its halls decked out in all manner of angelic symbolism, but its various rooms were also named according to the Ten Sephirot. He used this workshop to perform repairs on magic crests until his death, but during a struggle for his inheritance, the castle was destroyed by the light of Rongo Minyad. In summation, Kabbalah is one of many thaumaturgical systems upon which mages can base their craft. Even as science threatens to overturn mystery, it is efficient for mages to utilize these pre-established mythologies for their own gain. Kabbalah is the Jewish practice of becoming closer to God through mysticism and understanding the creative forces God uses to govern the universe. Its meaning comes from the arrangement and cryptography of names and numbers, giving mages a variety of ways to construct their workshops and spells. Kabbalah may be perhaps the most commonly used thaumaturgical system, but there are also many others worth investigating. Thus, for our next lessons, I aim to cover a variety of other foundations that mages have come to rely on. Thanks for watching!
If you enjoy this channel, help us grow by liking, commenting, sharing the video, subscribing to Otaku Daikun, and
most of all, smashing that notification bell so you don't miss out on all of our anime discussion, lore, or Let's Play content.
You can support us directly through Patreon, Subscribestar, or our YouTube membership, all of which come with benefits like exclusive vids and early access.
As always,
celebrate your fandom!
I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters. Video Gamer 75, Stephen Elak, Samuel Gersten, Otaku Mom, Jens Bauman, Mystic Samurai 1983, Freebrick, Cosmonaut, RNGer Shuffles 1498, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Johnny Tsunami, Link Pendrago, Brandon Baker, Observer Bellis, Caitlin P, Vladimirovna, Succubus Sakura, Normace, Jonathan Padua, the Taz96, and SF Giants fan Mike. Thank you all so much.